What's up, YouTube? This is Dragon, and this is another Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. So, let's get to the battle at hand. Well, this team. Looking at this team, I'm going to say that, well, classically, I kind of feel the fear of the Mega Kangaskhan the most. But because I have Ferrothorn on my team, and, you know, most people don't really pick Ferrothorn when they see... No, most people don't pick Mega Kangaskhan when they see a Ferrothorn on the opposing team, so that's the thing as well. Okay, so my opponent starts off with the Jolteon, which means that I am immediately going to have to switch. And for this particular situation, I just happen to have Ferrothorn. Now, I know most likely a Thunderbolt or maybe a Volt Switch is coming, so I'm a bit prepared for that. And it's going to be a Thunderbolt. That's pretty nice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put out some Stealth Rocks, and good Life Orb, not bad at all. So I'm put out some Stealth Rocks so that I can not have to deal with the Breloom possibly being sashed or anything like that. So, okay, my opponent goes for a substitute. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go for some rocks, there we go. Laying that situation to rest. And now I'm going to go for the Gyro Ball, because, well, I'm going to have to break it. Oh, my opponent even helps me out and goes for the Thunder Wave, making me even super slower. So that means, well, I mean, it is a Jolteon, so I didn't really need a Thunder Wave. This might just actually be pretty bad. Okay, good. I break it, and I go for the Gyro Ball, and it works. That's definitely going to break it, because it's a Jolteon. Like, of course it's going to break. Come on. So with that, I'm just going to go for Gyro Ball one more time. Yes, I'm going to go for Gyro Ball one more time. Or should I go for Leech Seed? Yeah, I'm going to go for Gyro Ball. Because I don't see any profit with Leech Seed. Yeah. So I'm going to go for Gyro Ball. And Shadow Ball it is. Alright, will that do a lot of damage? No, it does not do a lot of damage. And on top of that, but I am fully paralyzed, so that sucks. I would really love to have Gyro Ball my opponent at that moment. I also don't want to be Shadow Ball too much because I have to deal with that, possibly the Mega Kangaskhan, and is losing health points, so I'm fully paralyzed once again. This is devastating. Man. Man, this is tough. This is really tough. I can't. This is really bad. Hopefully I can live that, and no. But at least my opponent is going to be taking damage, so I can now just go in and hit it with my Talonflame and Acrobatics. Man, that really sucks. That's not good at all. So hopefully Acrobatics can at least kill from this range, because if it can't, well, there we go. Good job, Talonflame. Alright, so now it all depends on who my opponent's next Pokemon is. Hopefully I'll be even able to get up a Swords Dance, that'll be nice. And it's the Talonflame. Okay, but unfortunately my opponent has to deal with that. So what I'm going to do, predicting that my opponent... You know what? I'm probably going to just go for Acrobatics right here, right now. That is the better choice. Or I can switch. Should I switch? Yes, I should switch because my opponent may have Breloom on their team. So I should switch. That would be a much better play. I'm going to make the switch. Yes, it doesn't make sense to stay in. The match was forfeited. Wow. I don't know how to feel about that. Looks like my opponent could not handle the Talonflame. My goodness. Well, with that, we're definitely going to have another battle because why not? Yes, continue battling. And let's see. I'm gonna play a different song here. Yeah. Let's do that. The Cave Remix, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, let's get it on, baby. Let's get it on. Alright, another Mega Kangaskhan. So there we go. And let's see. My opponent does have the Mega Slowbro, so I'm gonna have to take that into consideration. Which means my Talonflame. Definitely gonna have my Ferrothorn come out first for some Stealth Rocks. Okay. And then that Pokemon can't put me to sleep with Sleep Powder, so that's the thing. I'm gonna need, let's see. Conkeldurr for, no. Baltizer. Maybe my own Mega Slowbro for the Slowbro. Actually, as a matter of fact, yeah. My Mega Slowbro would do pretty well here. For that. And now a Pokemon for, let's see, Conkeldurr. You know what? I'm gonna go a little bit risky, and I'm gonna choose a new Pokemon. Yes, I'm gonna choose a new Pokemon just because I can. Why not? I mean, why not? You know, it doesn't even matter. I'm just gonna have fun with it. What the heck? Alright, so let's see. Let's see what my opponent does. Don't really think it matters who she sends out first. I want to Mega Kangaskhan. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna make my opponent immediately apprehensive. Usually I don't like sending out Ferrothorn first when my opponent has Mega Kangaskhan, because I like to bait out the attack so that, you know, it can pretty much kill itself, especially with Fake Out. So with that, I'm gonna immediately go for the Stealth Rock. Hopefully it doesn't have like Substitute. It might have like Earthquake, maybe. Heck, it even might have Secret Power. I've seen Secret Power of Mega Kangaskhan. I've seen that. And Fire Punch. Okay. And wow, that did a considerable amount of damage. Well, at least it's gonna do a lot of damage to itself, and that critical hit did not matter. But it still did a lot of damage to itself, nonetheless. So that's pretty good. And I've seen a couple of Kangaskhan's carry the Fire Punch. I think explicitly for Ferrothorns, really. From what I gather. So let's see. Okay, that's gonna put me in a very precarious situation. I'm definitely going to need to send out my Mega Slowbro immediately. And that's going to leave me very susceptible to Venusaur, but I'm not necessarily sure my opponent has a Venusaur, because, well, then again, my opponent might, so I can't necessarily say that they don't. But I'm going to Mega Evolve and go for the Scald right here. And I know I'll be able to take any, like, you know, massive attacks, and, you know, at least I have some really strong defenses that I can use against this Mega Kangaskhan. So that's a plus in and of itself. My opponent looks like she's really taking time to consider what to do. And, you know, she might have a Mega Slowbro of her own. No, she doesn't have a Mega Slowbro of her own, because she Mega Evolved her Mega Kangaskhan. So, okay, good. My opponent decides to stay in. And maybe my opponent might go for the Sucker Punch. That would make sense. And let's see. And no, it's just straight up Double Edge. So that's good. At least, you know, that's not gonna do that much to Mega Slowbro, because see, look at that. Beast mode. Absolute beast mode. And then the Scald. It should finish it off. Yes, the Scald finishes off the Mega Kangaskhan. Not bad at all. Although I'm really feeling dreadful off that Fire Punch. But that Fire Punch still Okay, Vivillon. And here's exactly why I wanted to have, you know, my situation where I wanted it to be. So let's see. I can either let my Mega Slowbro go to sleep, or I can switch it to my new Pokemon. Let me see. I'm gonna have to check the stats, because, you know, that's the thing. Let's see, 100 and 109 and 78, 102. Ah, man, this is a real predicament, because I'm just gonna go for the Scald. And oh, substitute. All right, I'm glad I did not switch. That definitely would have been bad. And yes, this is a bug and flying type, right? Not bug and poison, correct. So good, the substitute faded. So that's good. Really glad the substitute faded. And what's that? That looks like leftovers. Okay, wow, that's a very odd set. Okay, so I'm gonna go for the Scald again. It's probably gonna go for the Sleep Powder. Then it makes sense. But it's not gonna miss. Then it's definitely going to be able to go for the substitute right here, right now. So yeah, that's okay. I see the purpose of the leftovers now. Yeah, oh man, that Fire Punch really did me in. Yeah, I wouldn't have, yeah, I would have definitely been good to go. That Fire Punch, man. So now I'm going to have to switch over into my new Pokemon, who unfortunately is going to be greeted by a substitute, and it is the Clawtizer. Yes, it's going to be the Clawtizer. I wanted to use Blissey, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not use Clawtizer? Yes, I could have used Blissey and been in the safe zone, yada, 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 yada. Or I could have just had a Crobat and, you know, went for Brave Bird, yada, 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 yada. But why not have fun? Why not? So let's see. I'm gonna go for Water Pulse because I can. Don't necessarily want to scare it off with Ice Beam or anything like that. I mean, even though it doesn't really make a difference. And Sleep Powder, oh wow. Kind of a douchebag move, but you know what? I don't really mind. Yeah, okay. So yeah, well, that's right. Most people just don't, you know, do that. So, great. Now both of my Pokemon are asleep. And definitely makes sense as to why my opponent has a substitute. Because, you know, yeah. So, I'm going to go for the Water Pulse again, and now my opponent is going for the Quiver Dancing, and this looks like it is going to be really bad. So, yeah, I see where this is going, and at least I woke up immediately, but now I'm kind of regretting not using the Ice Beam, but then on top of that, that Water Pulse is going to do a little bit extra damage, and maybe the substitute would fade, and it did fade, but it doesn't really make a difference because of the Quiver Dance, so we're going to find out what happens now. Most likely, this isn't gonna go well. And my opponent uses Sleep Powder again. And folks, this is exactly why Sleep Powder is banned for only one Pokemon per battle. Because of things like this, it just, you know, qualitatively isn't necessarily that fair. So, I'm gonna keep trying to Ice Beam my opponent. And, probably isn't going to work out because, you know, he could just go behind the substitute, put me to sleep, and then have almost a near 100% accuracy, and, you know, and, but that's cool. At least I'm waking up quite nicely. That's pretty cool. Maybe my opponent just might miss the Sleep Powder. There is like a 2% chance, I think, to miss Sleep Powder with Compound Eyes, so, you know, I'm going to go for it. And, nope. Did not miss. I mean, I'm not at all betting that Sleep Powder would miss, you know. It's a little bit depressing that my opponent is deciding to go this route though, but you know, it is the Battle Maison, so I expect it. You know, I mean, heck, I am fighting Mega Kangaskhan, so I really can't complain. So maybe I'll wake up on the next turn again. That would be pretty nice. Clawtizer. Yeah, Clawtizer's waking up one more time. Getting those Ice Beams off. Maybe my opponent will get frustrated. I hope my opponent gets frustrated beyond frustration. So that's like over 1800. That's like 24% health my opponent has been healing itself so far. I'm gonna go for Ice Beam again, and my opponent goes for the Sleep Powder and hits me again with the Sleep Powder. So, right. I'm not gonna wake up on the first turn because that's just not how things go. And it's kind of comical because maybe this is, well, I mean, there's no such thing as karma, but maybe there's like, I don't know, ironic karma. Who knows? So I'm gonna go for Ice Beam again, and my opponent goes for the Substitute again. And maybe, just maybe, I will wake up one more time to break my opponent out of the Substitute. Oh yeah, baby. Come on, Clawtizer. Let's put in that work. Let's put in that work, baby. Now my opponent is probably getting extremely frustrated, and she goes for the Sleep Powder again, and unfortunately hits me. But will I be able to wake up one more time on the extra turn of sleep? So we are about to find out how this turns out. Every time you go into a substitute, you do 25% damage to yourself. But let's see how this works out. And Clawtizer wakes up again, and he goes for the Ice Beam. And it looks like, I don't know, is that under 25%? I don't think so. I don't think so. And my opponent is definitely going to go for the Sleep Powder again, because of course my opponent will go for that Sleep Powder. So let's see, can I keep Ice Beaming, and can I keep succeeding? Let's see, that's definitely enough health to go into another substitute, but let's see if we wake up one more time. And my opponent goes into the substitute, putting herself into the red, and my Clawtizer is fast asleep. No. Oh. Why? Why? You were so close. Just one more. One more. And now I'm gonna get hit. Definitely gonna have to endure this. Maybe Clawtizer will wake up on the next turn from here. Hurricane. Hurricane is definitely going to hit. Well, it has a very high chance of hitting. I think, yeah, 75% accuracy. And, well, at least my Clawtizer woke up and did not get confused. So that's a good thing. But unfortunately, my opponent is going to be able to just hit me straight away for another Hurricane and have no worries as it blows me away into another dimension. At least within this mode, it can't necessarily... Will my opponent... Okay, wait, well... Okay, I guess it's safe to put me to sleep because my opponent gets a little bit of health that way. But maybe my Slowbro will be able to do something about this. One thing is for certain, I know I most likely would have just won if my opponent, you know, wasn't kind of doing what I call the douchebag Sleep Powder, and my opponent goes for a substitute again. Okay, but maybe Clawtizer could just wake up and oh, it is fast asleep. So that's definitely going to seal my fate, especially because my Mega Slowbro cannot take on 2 Hurricanes. And all I have to do is wake up one more time, and then this battle could have been completely different. So my opponent went through the whole method, just said, you know what, I'm just gonna go back to my substitute again because I can. Very unfortunate for me, and now I am in this situation. I kind of wish I had, what do you call it? You know, Infiltrator right now. Infiltrator would be really good for this team. That would be really nice. But now I just have a sleeping Slowbro, so this is not going to go too well at all. Well, at least it won't crit me, so that's the thing. But let's see. I'm gonna go slack off because, you know, I mean, whoop. I avoided the attack. I avoided the attack. All right. So I mean, I know my opponent's just gonna try to put me to sleep again. So that's the thing. Heck, maybe I would have been better just like going for the Skull. Sleep Powder once again. Oh man. man, like in Smogon, like I guess that's pretty good because you know this Pokemon is relatively fast even after a Quiver Dance. You know, if you just like get some extra special defense and speed and special attack, so you know you can just put everyone to sleep. I can see the value of this Pokemon already, and I can't necessarily like use Calm Minds because that's okay. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, because it did Quiver Dance, maybe I should have went for the Psy Shock instead. That would have been a much better play. And I'm so fast asleep though, so it doesn't matter. But at the very least, I have a Psy Shock. Maybe I can take 2 Hurricanes. I doubt it. But I'm going to go for the Psy Shock here. And now the Hurricane, it won't crit. But it should do a little bit more than half after 2 Quiver Dances. Yes. And I wake up. Psy Shock. And now it just doesn't even matter. Hopefully my opponent just uses Hurricane. Please don't be that douchebag. Just use Hurricane to kill me. Please, I'm begging you. Oh my god! Oh my god, you have to be that guy. Why do you have to be that girl? Why? None of this is necessary. Why did you not just kill me? Are you serious? Well, I mean, I guess Hurricane does have a chance of missing. But then Sleep Powder has the same accuracy. So it's redundant. Sleep Powder is 75. Hurricane is 75. What the heck, man? What the heck? And Substitute. Okay. She is Douchebag of the Month. It's May 2nd. She is officially Douchebag of the Month. She went into the Substitute. She did not have to go into the Substitute. This is my last Pokemon. You are just prolonging this to be a vagina? A pussy? Whatever. You're being a dick. You're being, oh my god, why? There was no point to that whatsoever. What the heck? For what? Just to prolong the agony of turn by turn of you going into your Substitute and putting me to sleep. Why? Why would you do that? Oh my god. Okay, first battle, that was really cool. Second battle, I can't even say it was kind of fun, but then it just turned into straight dickishness. Like, why? Just didn't have to do that. Didn't make any sense. But I guess it was still fun. But why? Why? Well, that was pretty cool. And I'm glad you guys enjoy these battles. And I will see you in the next battle. Well, see you later.